Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's been quite some time since I've done a video blog. So I'm going to do a series of about 4 blogs today. And one of the blogs I'm going to talk about first is living off the grid. So one of the things that's been on my mind is, of course, cost of living and current situations. I find myself to be among some of the growing Americans who are worrying about the high cost of living and utilities and everything that goes with that. And as rents and mortgages go up higher and higher, I'm looking for more of an alternative way of life. So a long time ago, I started looking into living off the grid, mainly RV living. And it's really caught my eye, and I've done so much research into RV living, and I'm so ready for it. And then I discovered a new culture of tiny houses. And when I first saw it, I gotta admit, I was kind of taken back by it. I was like, tiny houses, what is that? So on the DIY network, I discovered a show for tiny houses. And I started watching it and I started recording them basically my DVR. And I go back and watch some of these DIY shows about tiny houses. And you know what I discovered? There's a lot of smart people out there who are doing away with their mortgages or rents, high rent, doing away with their utility bills, and doing away with all the maintenance costs and noisy neighbors, noisy neighbors. They're getting rid of all of that and all the worries, and they're buying these tiny houses, and they're doing something that's pretty much unheard of now. They're saving money. Not only are they saving money, but what they're doing is they're buying these tiny houses cheap, and they're even building them, and they're pocketing their paycheck, pocketing their tax money, pocketing everything, and saving a tremendous amount of money. And then, when the time is right, a few of them actually just took all their money, wrote one check, and bought a regular house. Outright. No mortgage, no owing the bank, no nothing. And I thought it was a really cool idea, to think about living off the grid for maybe a year or 2 or 3, whatever your budget allows. So, would you imagine living off the grid for, say, 1, 2, or 3 years, taking all your money, pocketing all that money, and then one day buying the home of your dreams and actually being able to write one check and owning it? No bank mortgage, no interest rates, and no red tape and no bullshit. To be honest with you, a lot of people with regular conventional thinking would say, oh, that's crazy, you don't want a tiny house. But the more I've done research, the more I see people are going off the grid with RVs and tiny houses. And they're doing this by taking whatever amount of money they have, a little bit of money, and getting these house on wheels or vehicles, and they're pocketing so much money in the long run by doing away with all their bills. They're able to bounce back in a matter of, let's say, 1 to 3 years, and just buy a house outright and sail into their golden years with no bills. Could you imagine just having what you want, having life your way, and not owing the bank? That's a pretty nifty idea. And most people are having concerns about, well, what if, you want to have friends over, or what about showering? What about plumbing and this and that and the other thing? Well, there are certain concessions to be made, and there are certain concerns, of course. But you can go where you want, do whatever you want, travel the country, and be able to pocket all your money. Maybe that's not so crazy after all. So, at this point in time, I'm actually thinking seriously about getting an RV or getting a tiny house. And from what I've been seeing, they're both almost the same, with the exception of an RV being an all-in-one vehicle, and a tiny house would either be a standalone or hooked on the back of whatever truck or SUV you have. And from what I've actually noticed, people are making it work. What's more interesting is not just people, couples are making it work. I find that fascinating. I don't know about you all, and you're probably looking at this video thinking, oh my God, that's a crazy idea. But when you look at how much money they're putting away and ensuring their future and being able to actually live off the grid, have adventures that people dream of, and then bouncing back 10 times stronger, it's not as crazy as you may think. So I need some responses to this video. I need to know, what do you think about living off the grid? If you had an opportunity to do it, would you do it? If someone said, get an RV for 1 to 3 years, or get a tiny house for 1 to 3 years, take all your paychecks and all your tax money and pocket it, and then one day just buying a home of your own and getting the life you want your way. If you had a chance to live off the grid for 1 to 3 years, maybe 4, depending upon what you want to do, would you do it? Would you think it's so crazy? I used to think, I'm not going to do nothing like that. That's pretty stupid. Well, you know what? As my rent keeps going up and my utility cost keeps going up, it's sounding not so crazy. So what do you think? Can I get some honest responses to this video? Can I get some honest opinions to this video? What would you all do if you had a chance to live off the grid and get an RV or a tiny house? Would you do it? What do you think? Get back to me, and hopefully I hope you found this video entertaining, and I hope you found it food for thought.